Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Wilds, Mayor of Englewood, at the steps of City Hall. We just had our Martin Luther King annual march. I'd like to thank Pastor Preston Thompson for doing an extraordinary job in leading the 51st. Now, he hasn't been here for all 51, but he did a wonderful job, and he has kept this march from City Hall steps to the steps of Ebenezer Baptist walking in great stride. He has our full esteem and thank you, and I didn't mean at all to compete with that special event, and I came back to City Hall afterwards. There's a virtual service, and it's my prayer that everybody participates in that, and we'll have a chance to watch this after that service. But this is a very pertinent day for a very important announcement, and I wanted to start on this special day at this time. As everyone's aware, our long-serving state senator from the 37th District, Loretta Weinberg, recently announced her planned retirement at the end of the year. Senator Weinberg has been a tireless advocate for our residents, fighting for transparency in government, advancing equality for all, and always looking to hold both public and private sectors accountable. She is and was and will always be a force to reckon for, and with very deep shoes, has led an extraordinary legacy, a legacy she inherited from Byron Baer, the author of the Sunshine Law. There isn't a single meeting in the state of New Jersey that does not cast some kind of sunshine, and in that legacy of transparency, she has forged an even deeper legacy and has made a real hole, if you would, by her departure in our scene. She's truly a legend in the field, and we owe her a debt of gratitude. As we look to the future, we're facing a world that is very challenging. It's soon, hopefully, emerging from a global pandemic and has taken a tremendous toll on our citizens. This crisis has resulted in scores of illnesses and deaths and crippling effect in our family and social lives, our economy, jobs, our children's education and their socialization. The experiences that they have are also being impacted. Our nation and our state in the midst of entrenched political and racial divides, and we're only scratching the surface again of the deep injustices that have been allowed to stand far too long. In my city, we have a fractured police department, and in Washington, we can just imagine the insidious insurrection that we had in our rearview mirror just last week. Hard on a day like today, with Dr. King's legacy abound, to think that acts of violence would actually take place in this day, in this time, in this nation. In times like this, it all demands leadership. We need the right leaders at the right time to stand up and speak out for our community. We need elected officials that show humility, compassion, and a true desire for public service, recognizing, of course, that state government is responsible for so many critical services and experiences: education, criminal justice reform. How are we talking about marijuana advancement in the state of New Jersey, and we haven't changed the criminal justice system that is against the black community that we stand in the middle of? Reforming our economics, the economic revival, food insecurity. All of these issues require strong visionary leaders who provide tireless service to our residents. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege, it is my fact in my life and in my family that Gordon Johnson is this type of leader, and that is why I'm proud to announce today my support of Assemblyman Gordon Johnson to be our next senator, to fill those magnanimous shoes, those deep roots of Byron Baer, of Loretta Weinberg, and yes, now Gordon Johnson to be our next senator. Gordon is a longtime friend and has always been somebody that I've been able to work for and with. Even if we disagreed, we always came to terms and understood one another. He knows our community intimately and cares deeply for the people here. He hails from our city and has a tremendous record of public service, hailing his beginning in public service from our Englewood Police Department, and then going on after serving 20 years for his military service and his time and as our Bergen County Sheriff. That office was fractured, and there was great challenge a decades ago, and Gordon was there and ably handled it and turned it over to the next generation. The notion of and the nobility of law enforcement and public service is something that he has always made us proud to be part of. In each of these capacities, he has demonstrated compassion for great leadership skills. It's only fitting that we stand on the steps of City Hall in the city of Englewood, where he started his career of public service, to make this an announcement. And I'm actually humbled to be the first public official to come out in support of this esteemed leader. Gordon has represented us ably in the State Assembly for nearly 20 years. His background and service has led to great achievements in law, public safety, veterans affairs, not forgetting a single person that donned a uniform for our nation and for the senior citizens and for those that are less fortunate. There isn't a time where there's a housing issue where I don't call Gordon, and if Gordon's not available, Ralph Shermer in his office, whose phone number is enshrined in every single phone call, gets responded to. And if there's an issue, I get Gordon immediately on the phone. He has championed rent protection, economic expansion, job creation, public transportation, and safety, and an issue that's particularly dear to me as an immigration lawyer, supported the DREAM Act, expanding access to higher education for students without discrimination based on residency status. Today we face so many challenging issues related to equality. The racial hostility that exists in our country is at a dangerous level, and as you know, today being Martin Luther King Jr. Day, when we celebrate a pioneer in this effort, this is a particular privilege and why we chose, Gordon and I, to step forward today. How fitting a special day that we can make history in Bergen County by starting the process to elect Gordon Johnson to be the first black, the first African-American senator to serve the 37th district and the county of Bergen. We have had distinguished assemblymen, Arnold Brown, who was my treasurer from one of my campaigns many years ago, as our first black assemblyman. It's time we have our first black senator, and on this Martin Luther King's Commemoration Day, it's my privilege to endorse Gordon. I know that he will be an outstanding senator, and I call upon all my fellow Democratic elected officials and party leaders to join me in supporting Gordon Johnson to be our next senator. I've always believed in and always stated that public service has been a public trust, and this day I believe the person who embodies that trust in words and in action is Gordon Johnson, and I'm placing my personal trust in Gordon. I hope that you will join me in supporting the next senator, and I hope that he will say a few words and then we'll take some questions. But we'll take the questions offline so we don't disturb the spiritual sacredness of today. Thank you. Gordon?
Thank you very well, and thank you for your support. We have been friends. We have been friends for a very, very long time. The bonds of friendship are strong and last forever. I am so glad that you feel that I can replace that great Senator Letta Weinberg. She's been my mentor for about 20 years.
She's watching this, so be careful.
Yeah, that's right. She's been my mentor for 20 years, and she is a boobala for sure. But I thank you for your faith in me. I will not let you down. We have a lot of work to do, and I think as we go forward, and as Team Johnson goes forward, when I say Team Johnson, I'm talking about Doug Byrne, my treasurer, who's here today, who's a part of Team Johnson. As we get our plan together, our strategy together to win this race and to become, get me to the next step, to be a state senator, I intend to work hard for the people of the 37th district and for the people of the state of New Jersey. So thank you for your faith in me. Thank you for your friendship, as always. And we will continue to work together to ensure the people of the 37th district maintain the quality of life that they are so entitled to. So thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. And again, these days are so important, from the State House to the steps of City Hall, that we hold our elected officials accountable. Thank you, Gordon, for your service. We wish your family Godspeed and only good health, and we're happy to entertain some questions now. Yes, to the gentleman.